What's up, everybody? Welcome to another one of these V2 Lab videos that kind of goes all over the place, but it's, it has something to do with the channel, I guess, and a lot to do with my friends. And I have a lot of friends that own their own businesses and their own brands, and I wanted to help you guys and make a video teaching you guys how to start your own brand. This kind of is maybe a part 1, maybe there's a part 2 to this, maybe there's a part 3. I don't know, but I started writing the notes down and it kind of went kind of crazy, and I was like, you know what, maybe I might have to break this down to more than what this is. So first things first, if you're starting a brand, you need a good name. You got to come up with a name that's unique, something that people resonate with, that, reminds you of like yourself or your aesthetic or the whole style that, you kind of go into. Like SORCERY is my brand name. That's my streetwear company. That's what I have on the side. That's what, not besides V2 Lab, I drew my own logo, which I think you need a strong logo, something that people can easily identify, easily remember. Mine is the ghost that I drew. Obviously it'll be here. I'll have them all like popping up as we're going along. And I drew it myself. If you can't draw or you can't design stuff, always feel free to, pay a professional to get your idea exactly the way you want it translated out on paper. The second thing is, once you think of a name, be sure to check trademarks. Go to it's USPTO, I believe, .gov, and then you can use their search. Check and see if anybody has a registered trademark. The last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of your effort, a bunch of your money, building up a brand that someone else has already trademarked. That'll just save you a bunch of trouble. I'll have the link in the description below for that. The second thing is you basically want to figure out what you're building the brand around. A lot of what we do is like streetwear, skateboarding, drifting, that kind of demographic of what SORCERY is related to. You're probably wondering why I'm sitting in my car again. Well, the car is a big part of the brand, and authenticity really matters when it comes to building a brand. Your audience and your customers have to believe that you live, breathe, and die by what you're promoting and selling. I don't really want to support someone who's just culture vulturing off of the hard work and the love and the hobbies of other people. So, if you really want to, be a part of a community and sell to that community, participate, be a part of it. Build a car if you want to be in the car community, If you want to sell clothing to breakdancers, you better start breakdancing or learning the music, It's everything that goes along with it. And I feel like that's a big part of this. I'm sure I can go a lot deeper into that and all that. So my first thought on products, I think you should start with stickers. It doesn't really matter what you got going on. I think stickers really make a big difference. Like they make a big impact. They're cheap, they're inexpensive. You can pass them around. You can take the loss of $50. If you're starting out and you're going to start a brand, you're going to spend money anyways. Stickers are dispensable. You can tag them up everywhere, give them to your friends, put them on your buddies' cars, put them on your notebook, put them on your laptop, and go to Starbucks. You have your sticker on your laptop. People notice it. Stickers are an easy way to get out there, and they're something that if you took an L on, it's not going to hurt you. The second thing, if you're going to make shirts, I always suggest if you're just starting your brand out, start with pre-orders from your friends if possible. If not, and you want to take the risk, start with companies that make smaller quantity orders. When I started V2 Lab, I was doing 50 shirt order minimums for one design, and I was getting stuck with shirts for 6 months. Even though the brand grew substantially, it still sucked that I was getting stuck with shirts and having to order sizes that not everybody wore. Smalls aren't really super popular, and then sometimes 3Xs aren't super popular. But then the times where you don't have those sizes, people want a million 3Xs and a million smalls. And it's just, start with a small quantity, gauge your investment. And also, what I recommend for this part of that when you're investing your money, I think you should start with a small amount of money. And I think you should put that money aside and not be able to touch it. Have other money that you're going to pay your bills with, other money that you're going to handle all your other expenses with. The way you can make a product, sell the product, and when you get the money back, you can put it in the same account or the same savings section dedicated to your brand so that you constantly recycle the money and you're not losing the money to your bills every month. If you have to work your regular job or you have to have a side hustle to get your brand to keep going, I recommend you doing it that way. Well, next up, I think vending at events. Showing up to events is real important in terms of getting your brand recognized. But you don't need to show up to every event. You don't need to be there. You don't even need to vend at every event. Sometimes just showing up, passing out stickers, and letting people know that your brand exists is a big thing. Social media exists, and if you go to car shows and you take pictures of people's cars, you put your logo on the cars, you send out the pictures, people will literally take their pictures and post them around the internet with your logo on the bottom of the photos. They'll tag you on Instagram, and it's free advertising for you. It literally takes no effort. You can even use your cell phone. You can use watermarking apps on your phone. If you have Lightroom, Lightroom Photoshop's $10 a month. You can do batch editing, put your logo on everything, boom, send it to the internet. People are happy. Everybody likes photos of their car. The better you get, the better it works out for you. That's just another free tip for getting your getting your name out to a bunch of people for free. It's free advertising, just literally showing up to the event. The other side is like when you're vending at shows, you got to pick and choose what kind of shows you're going to go to and what works for your brand. Not all shows work, and I'm going to do a whole video on this one of these days. It'll probably be in part 2, but I really have like a good idea of what vending shows or shows that you should vend at, and then what price breakdowns are worth the investment. Always keep that in mind too. The amount of money that you're going to spend on a show, is it the money that you're going to make back? And I mean, in your head, you're probably thinking, well, you got to spend money to make money. You got to spend money to be at these shows, to be seen. That's true, and it's not. There are shows that you can go to that people spend so much money to get in the show that they literally don't spend any money on merchandise. And there are other shows where people spend a bunch of money to get in the shows, and because of the audience and the demographic that they bring out, that audience will spend money with vendors no matter what. So I have a breakdown of all those shows that I've been to and what I think works and what doesn't work. And I'll save that for a later video. Tying into car shows, tents and flags and banners and all that stuff. A lot of my buddies jump right into spending $1,000 on like those super branded tents and all this stuff, and that's cool. That's awesome if you have a design, you have a really good logo, really good name, and everything all set in stone. But if you're just starting out, $1,000 is a lot of money that you could put towards products. And what I suggest is finding a nice 10x10 with a black top, something very simple, very, very cut and dry, and spending $140 or $180 on 2 flags, 2 really nice flags. They sell giant, like 17-foot ones. You can buy smaller ones. You can buy Nabori flags. The flags are simple. Like, people aren't really looking for your tent to find out where you are, but if the flags are in the air, people will see the flags first at shows. You can save $800 or whatever it is by not buying a tent right away, buying like a $60 or $100 tent, as long as it's like one that has the straight down legs and it's a black top, 10x10, which is like standard. You can get away with that for a while until you make up some money and your brand starts to take traction and everything else. I just think that's one of those tips that a lot of people like overlook, and it's super easy to like get caught up in the hype of, oh, I need this crazy tent, this crazy display setup. You can do a lot with a little. You can go to IKEA, you can buy a table, you can, instead of having a folding table, have a little bit nicer table, have a nicer tablecloth, you can do a carpet, you can do those little fake plants, you can buy boxes. Your display setup is effort-based. Whatever effort you put in is what you're going to get out of it. You don't need to go spend $1,000 on a tent if you're just starting out. So onto the internet side of things, right? I think that you can get away with building an entire brand on the internet without ever going to an event, spending any money vending, or doing any of that stuff, just by building a really nice car or a really nice project or something that people are interested and engaged in. There are plenty of people with successful brands, successful businesses that have never been to an event, that don't even go to things. You know what I mean? They're a part of the culture, they participate in the online life of it, and they don't spend money at the conventional events. I see that all the time. I see there's plenty of successful brands, there's plenty of successful businesses. It's just about how you market yourself. Being consistent on the internet is a big thing, and you should diversify yourself, put yourself on every social media platform you can, build a nice website if you have to, get your store going and get things moving. Like, just being out there is a big thing. So moving forward from there, going to online stores, you have platforms where, obviously if you're just starting out as a brand, I think Shopify is very intimidating, and I think it's a little bit overkill for what a lot of people do. Squarespace has a nice little store set up. It works because the website side of that's really good and really easy to work with. But I always recommend people to start with Big Cartel and PayPal. Big Cartel is super easy. They have 5 free items if you want to start with 5, and then there's 10. For $10 a month, you get 25 items of inventory tracking, and it's just where everybody starts, and it's a really simple platform to use. You can build it yourself. You don't need any like skills or anything like that. This is not an ad, by the way. This is just something I use. I recommend it to everybody starting out, and it's super sick. It just works really well. And inventory tracking is super important, because if you're buying small quantity orders of shirts or small quantities of stickers, you totally can track your inventory so you don't oversell and have to order another set of shirts and lose money on that kind of deal. I've done that before. Don't make my mistakes. The other thing is if you're making stickers, little vinyl stickers, you can get a vinyl plotter for super cheap on the internet. You pay your designer or design yourself in Illustrator or whatever vector program you're using. There are free ones out there. Illustrator's like $20 a month, or part of a $50 package from Adobe Creative Cloud. Or you have a designer, you pay a designer for a design, they make you an EPS vector file. A vector file is something that can expand or contract as big as possible and whatever without losing any resolution. And you just plug that into your sign program and cut stickers for yourself. Like vinyl plotters are super cheap. You can start with a US cutter that's like under $200 and start doing your vinyl plotting and sticker stuff, the die cut vinyl stickers, for super cheap, doing them yourself. That's what we did, and I mean, it's paid for itself 100 times over just because we were cutting our own stickers before events and, you know, just to pass out and put them on cars and whatnot. So that's another thing. But yeah, you know, before I move out of this video and into like a part 2, I went and messaged some of my friends before, actually today, because I decided I was going to shoot this video today, for them to give you some advice. So check this out.
So Ravi asked me to come up with some questions for help creating or bettering a brand. Somebody in the automotive space, maybe. That would be myself. I'm in the automotive space, and I have my brand, which is Krispy Media, which is now Krispy Media Enterprises, LLC. I'll have you know it sounds fancy. A hint of advice. I mean, something that I always tell people is to always promote themselves, always promote their brand. Be wearing your own merchandise if you have it. Be wearing your own hats, shirts, hoodies, whatever you have it. If you make them even just for yourself. Originally, I had like iron-on printed shirts that my mom made me. Always make, it sounds old age, but business cards, people still ask them. People that are maybe older, that probably have more budgets, you're usually ones to be in the mindset to ask for a business card. So make yourself a business card. I made some when I had my first photography name, and I just always carried those around with me. And they look crappy, and they're cheap quality from like Vistaprint or whatever, but it's promotion in some way or form. So always be promoting yourself, whether that be on Facebook or Instagram or wearing your own shirt or having multiple social media outlets so you can spread yourself out and not just on one platform. In case one fails, you always have the other as a backup. Definitely give equal love to each platform on social media. Don't just favor one or the other, because if one goes away, you will always have the other. And if you can build your brand on multiple platforms, you have multiple outlets to share your stuff. You have multiple outlets to get your work out there, to get your brand out there, to get more work for your brand, if that's what it is, or to sell more merchandise, or to sell more whatever your brand is. So always be promoting. Always promote in any situation you can. If you have the supermarket in line and someone says something and it relates to whatever you're doing, mention, oh, well, by the way, I have this, because they could be somebody important, or they could just be buying eggs or milk. Hope this helps.
Ravi asked me to give one piece of advice that I would give to an inspiring brand owner. And I think I'd have to say that my one piece of advice would definitely just be to kind of stay consistent. You know, you're going to be your biggest supporter. You're definitely going to be the only person at the end of the day that's going to hold it down for you. People are going to come and go. There's always going to be people that are going to say that they're going to ride for you, give you all these empty promises, whatever. But at the end of the day, you are definitely going to be the one that pushes you the hardest. And sometimes it's kind of hard to continue to push yourself, but if you don't do it, no one else really is. No one else is going to ride for you harder than you. And I don't know, I guess that's really it, to be honest. Yo, peep my shirt though. What's good with that? Look at that. Look at that. We out here. We lit. All right, bye. I can't even look at the camera, bro.
So one piece of advice for someone who's looking to start a brand. I think the biggest thing is to just be really, really persistent. There are a lot of people throughout the entire process of starting the brand that are gonna wanna see you fail, that are gonna tell you you can't do it, that are gonna tell you it's not possible. And there are a lot of situations that are gonna, put you like in an adverse place where you may feel like it's not possible. And the thing is, the difference between those who, can succeed in that and who, wind up failing at that is those who can kind of persist and see it through even in the face of that adversity.
All right, Robbie hit me up last minute to give some advice to people out there who are looking to start a brand. The biggest piece of advice I can give you guys is don't be afraid of collaboration. Collaboration is huge. Collaborations don't always have to make sense. If you think about it, why did Cult work with The Simpsons? Why did work with Vossen? A lot of these collaborations off top of the dome don't seem to make a lot of sense. Why is Supreme putting out dirt bikes? Who knows? Who cares? If it resonates, that's what you want. Plus, working with someone else can give you inspiration you never really thought of. Tons of good things will come out of collaborating with people. That's honestly probably the biggest mistake I made when I was starting out. I didn't want to work with everybody. I saw some people as competition. That's foolish. Work with people, work with people, work with people, get inspiration, do what you got to do, and just keep the passion, keep having fun.
Starting a brand or things to implement into your brand. I guess you could call it secret sauce as far as my brand. I like to implement things such as love, kindness, and respect to everyone I meet, no matter what walks of life they come from, because you never know who they might turn out to be. You never know who you're speaking to. Being that way has definitely got me into doors that I've never thought I'd be in, and not just with my brand, but with life in general. So in my opinion, it's definitely something you should implement into your brand and also into your daily life.
I feel like with the brand, you got to know what you stand for. You have to know when to change. Don't overthink it, and give yourself a 5-year plan. Give yourself a 10-year plan. With ILDS nowadays, we focus on events. That's our main thing. So like when I sit at the round table with my staff or my crew, if you want to call it that, we're mainly talking about events. We're like things like merch and other things like that. We put those things sometimes to the wayside. We do focus a lot on the merch, but when it comes to ILDS as a brand, we are focusing on the events. And that 5 years in doing ILDS was a change that we made. The brand purpose is the same, but we understand that we reach people better when we host events.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, leave questions if you have any questions below, or if you have any questions or comments about what you want to see in the future, follow-up video to this, or if you have questions about what I said in the video or anything like that, I am going to most likely film a part 2. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Anyone wanting to start their own brand or their business, I tell you, don't do it. Be full. Take your ass to work.